In this video, I'll show you how I maintain my Espar D2 diesel heater by replacing the atomizer screen. I do this roughly every 500 hours of runtime so that the diesel heater is well maintained and provides reliable heat when needed. Replacement screen is also known as a strainer and costs me about 50 cents on eBay when purchased in bulk. The screen works in the Espar and many of the Chinese parking heater models, and the process to replace should be similar across many of the different brands out there. These are all the tools that I need to perform this job. The T20 Torx bit is used to remove the ECU. A 12mm slotted deep well socket to remove the glow pin. A pick or a very small screwdriver to lever the side of the screen from the wall of the ignition chamber. A narrow set of needle nose pliers to grab the atomizer screen and pull it out of the ignition chamber. Once the screen has been removed, I'll use this brass brush to clean out the ignition chamber. I'll also need the screen insertion tool and, of course, a replacement screen. And finally, a safety pin is used to gain access to the Espar Digimax D1000 control unit to check and reset the runtime hours between maintenance. I also use the Milwaukee M12 screwdriver and a socket to remove the bolts holding the custom-built cage to the floor. The screwdriver is used to loosen and tighten the heater hose clamp. So on the controller, what you have to do is press in the button here. There's a little hole. Press this. Now it goes into firmware maintenance, memory mode, memory test OK. I'll say no to diagnose. I've got 530 hours. I'm not going to clear it yet. I'll do this at the end of the process. These are the current settings for voltage from the battery. Change settings, no. And that's it. All I did here was check how many hours I've got on the diesel heater so far since the last maintenance. So this diesel heater has a cage installed around it by Thermo King out in Coquitlam, British Columbia. This heater has been installed on the driver's side front of the wheel well. It's got bolts here. I've got to remove these. I can take the cage out after I take this out. Got the cage off. So all you have to do is take off the end cap. Off one end you can see a little bit of dust here. There's two little tabs. So this is the ECU. This is the glow plug. This is the glow plug boot. Inside is an atomizer screen that we'll have to remove. We've got a little Torx bit here. You remove the Torx screw, do it by hand, it's already loose. There's some little clips here, squeeze them as you pull up the ECU. The glow pin wires are connected to the ECU here. All you have to do is pull that out. But what we'll do first, so that we don't have any electrical issues, is disconnect the electricity from the heater. So there's a little pull tab over here. Pull that, pull up on the wires, and that's it. Now it's safe to pull out the wire from the ECU. They're tabbed, so you can't put it in backwards. What you have to do is lift carefully this boot pull it out from inside. Be careful not to pull the wires. You have to slide this boot off the wire. And as you see here, that's the glow plug. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. That's the glow plug, the wires. It's an expensive piece, so be very, very careful. They're fragile. This tool here, it's a 12mm socket. Place this in where the wires are. There you go, you hear it click. So get yourself a small screwdriver, push down here, and leverage it, it clicks open, and be very careful and do the rest by hand. Go. As you can see here, it's not too much carbon. You take a little bit of paper towel, push this in like that. See, not too much black. Clean it off. Inside is the atomizer. And then what you do, these are sometimes hard to take out. You pick this out, you take the edge of the screen, you pry it away from the wall. Enough so that you can get some needle nose pliers inside. And once you got your needle nose pliers, you want to pull up against the part that you pulled. This can be very tricky. There you go. It's hard to tell where this thing is because it's dark inside, and it's hard to show you on screen here. This doesn't have too much carbon, so I do this every 500 hours just as a preventive maintenance. And what I do next, you can see inside the hole there. What I'll do next is clean that out. This is the brass brush that I use. And all I do is stick this inside the hole as deep as I can go, in and out. And that removes whatever carbon there is inside the hole. So there's an air hole on this side of the burn orifice here. When I just poke your screwdriver in there, you can use the brush a few more times just in case it's already clogged. Shouldn't be. There's not much carbon that was in there. And when you get a replacement screen, you'll see there's 2 or 3 welds. In this case, there's 3 little welds on here. The ECU is on the left in this case. The burn chamber is on the right. The air intake, there's a little tube that comes down in this portion of the burner. You want to make sure that these welds go away from the air intake. So there's a little glow plug insertion tool that comes usually with a kit of these strainers. Make sure you line up the welds with that little line there. You face it away from you. Place it in there carefully. And you just push down as far as it can go. That's it. You pull it back out. Inside you can see the replacement screen. Now putting everything back together is just the reverse. So what you want to do is take your glow plug, place it in very carefully, right in the middle. Start turning to the right to tighten it. Place your socket over it. There's a little bit more leverage. Okay, once you got to this point, take your screwdriver, put it through here. There's one more turn to go. There we go. And just hand tighten it. You don't have to do it too tight. And then pull this out, and that's it. Carefully slide the boot over again. Make sure the boot goes inside. The boot over here goes inside. Push down. So it does a nice seal. There we go, and that's it. All we do now is reconnect the glow plug pin connector. Squeeze these two, put the ECU back. Make sure no wires are pinched. These are the temperature sensing wires right here. I'll put back the screw back into the ECU. There, it's tight, doesn't wobble. Take the cover and put that back on. Slide it in to the right. Push down. There we go. Now for the air inlet hose, we'll clean this off first. You can use a toothbrush. I'll vacuum up the van later on. What you do is push it on top here. That's all it is. Very simple. Here's the electrical connection. There. That's the electrical connection. Snaps shut, and that goes down there. And that's it. A very simple way to change the atomizer screen of an Espar D2 heater. Loosen that, push it over there. A little bit hard earlier to take it off. Tighten it a bit. Put the cage back on. Put the air vent, the heater vent in. Tighten the screw. What I'll do is put this screw back through here. Do the next one. So what we want to do now is reset the number of hours run back to 0. In order to do that, we're going to use the safety pin, press the pinhole, long press this button, it goes into maintenance mode. We don't have to do a memory test because it was all clear earlier. So we'll say no. Clear the runtime hours. Right now it's 530 hours and 47 minutes. Clear the hours. Confirm reset. Say yes. Runtime set to 0. Shows you the current settings. The next preventative maintenance after 500 hours. Change settings. Nope. Now it's ready. We'll turn it on. We'll go outside, take a look at the exhaust port, see how much exhaust comes out. So what we'll do is turn it on, set for 22 Celsius. Green light turns on. Let's go outside. So we're here at the exhaust port outside. What we want to do is make sure that it starts up. Then we'll go back inside and check for the temperature. You hear it clicking. There we go. That's normal, a bit of white smoke, especially after an install. You see, there's no white continuous smoke. So let's go inside the van now. So we're back inside the van. Let's check the temperature. So it's increasing. The heater is on. And it works. So that's how you change the atomizer in an Espar D2 or a Chinese diesel heater. Should be very similar. That's 40 degrees Celsius. You can hear it ramping up. Now it's running full speed. It's pretty much about the highest temperature that we'll get. So let's take a bit of a closer look at the atomizer screen. This is about 530 hours worth of runtime. It doesn't look too bad. What you can do too, if you take these out and you don't damage it too much over here, what you can do is take a torch, like a blowtorch, and get rid of the carbon by burning this item here. You can reuse it. I've done that a couple times on a previous atomizer screen. I've got 4,000 hours so far on this diesel heater. Done all my maintenance myself. Learned a lot by doing. Watching YouTube videos also helped. If you don't have a 12mm socket with a slot in it, what you can do is make one yourself. Just get an older socket, get a Dremel tool, and cut this out yourself. Much easier to buy it. It's about $10 for the item. Well worth having. Actually, that's the only way you can get the globe plane out. You also need a pair of narrow needle nose pliers. As you can see here, these are very old pliers. What I had to do was take a grinder and grind these very thin so it would fit into the glow plug hole. If you don't do this, or you don't have the right size pliers, it's not going to work. Another way to remove the glow plug pin atomizer screen is to use a 7mm tap. I don't have one of those. I can't find them here locally in Canada. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something here and hope that helped.